I am so excited to show off the brand new and improved Agencentric, which will be autonomous AGI deployments into your high-level agency, as well as white labeling it to external deployments, as well as internal deployments to your sublocations or to your clients. So I'll show you a little bit around the platform and show you what this thing can do. So this is the admin dashboard here where I'm able to white label this entire thing all the way across my deployments, whether that be my client deployments inside of HighLevel or my client deployments outside of HighLevel. I'm able to grab custom menu link for the white label portal in here. I'm able to manage external clients here, plenty of documentation, integration directly with HighLevel via OAuth. And you're able to manage your entire fleet of deployments here. So I'm able to, by sublocation, manage assistant limits, manage message limits, and I'm able to get a top-down view of everything that's going on inside of these locations just from my admin dashboard here. And if I have a external deployment, I can go in here and see what they're up to as well. So go into HighLevel, you'll see it's a custom menu link here, which links to a white labeled dashboard that sits in here to deploy AGI assistance into your HighLevel for different business functions. So just to kind of give a rundown of how exactly this works inside of HighLevel. So this is a zero workflow system, absolutely zero workflows because it is HighLevel OAuth. Basically, a listener is installed into the location, which then collects inbound and outbound to build profiles, as well as collect conversation data on the leads and clients you currently have, so that assistants have a permanent conversation memory when they go in for deployment, whether it's a new lead or whether it's a client that you're deploying a support assistant on. There's infinite conversation continuity that comes with having conversation data stored here. And I can even see, if I come into my contact here, I could even, just like native into HighLevel, I can send my message all from here inside the portal that's white labeled inside of HighLevel. I can see my assistant deployment runs. I can see everything about them. I can see what this assistant has been doing, which assistant's been doing it, and then basically manage my fleet of assistant deployment that way. So these conversations are collected automatically via the listener. The data is your own, so you can download it as CSV, either whether it's for training or whether it's just to keep, or you could delete it. The data you own is completely for you, but this allows basically permanent conversation continuity for each stage of the deployments that you have for your assistants, whether it's sales, whether it's support, account management, customer success, whatever it is you're doing, these assistants have access to a permanent database of conversation and continuity as you continue to deploy these things. So that's just a brief overview of what we're seeing here in the dashboard. Now, we have a breakdown of what seems to be an untraditional way to approach what would be deploying a chatbot or deploying an assistant in this case. So we've broken up training data, assistants, and deployments into three separate things, which may seem odd at first, but once you kind of see how these things lay out, you'll understand that there's a scalability in being able to do this. And also, it's almost like having Legos of being able to build AI, where these things are interchangeable. You can mix and match however you want without disrupting any current deployments or anything like that. So we'll start with training data. If I go into here, for example, let's go into the support training data. I can upload 20 plus files or 20 files, 512 megabytes per file. And what this is reference data for the assistant to use for whatever business function it is. So as it converses, it can read these files, reference data in these files, and then use this as a knowledge base, as a shared brain to go through basically their job function and purpose and their goals. This links and syncs directly up with your HighLevel calendars, and I'm able to set calendars at a training data level based on whatever function I'm creating this specific training data for. So I have one for sales, I have one for support. So my calendar here is going to be my support calendar, and the same with this one, it's going to be my sales calendar here. So the reason that training data and assistance is a different structure, one, it reduces the having to upload this data to every assistant you deploy, especially if you have different business functions. So what you're doing here is you're creating a brain, almost like a shared brain for your assistants to use in their different business functions. For example, if I go into my support assistant here, all I have to do is link this training data. So basically, if I have a sales training data here and I have a fleet of, let's say, sales reps, right? I don't have to upload my sales data every single time. It almost acts as a shared brain for each sales assistant to access. So they all have what would be, again, kind of information continuity between each other, but perhaps a different personality or perhaps a different goal, different niche that they're targeting. So example, I can customize these based on my job functions. If I go to perhaps some of the templates we have here, you can start from scratch: sales, customer support, recruiting, account management, or self-selling. Let's go into the support. So we're able to configure the personality here. This is the role. This is the personality, the pseudonym that this assistant is basically assuming here. So we're giving it a name. We're giving it a personality. We're giving it a role to assume. We can select whichever LLM that we want to use here. We're just going to use GPT-4 Turbo. And then we're going to tell it a little bit about the company that it works for here, just to kind of give it data right in its face so that it knows what it's doing, who it's doing it for, and who it is. And then we're going to tell it its ultimate purpose, which is its North Star, and the reason that we are creating this thing, the reason that it's in our business, which is, for example, for my support one here, is managing customer service inquiries and solving client issues, ensuring customer satisfaction and support. So we're letting it know, hey, this is why we quote unquote hired you into our business. This is your ultimate purpose here. Now, besides linking the training data here as a, again, kind of reference knowledge base, we want to set some goals that are associated with this assistant specifically. So what we can do is we can add infinitely many goals as we need to here, again, for whatever business function or how either easy or short, simple, or as long as my sales process or as complicated as my sales process is, I can set as many steps as I want to accomplish goals for this business function. I can get very granular in the way that I manage these specific goals. So I can tell it, hey, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. But also we want to be very, very persistent in the way that we accomplish this goal. So example of the persistence level, if I have qualifying here as a goal, if this was a sales rep assistant, I'd say qualifying is my goal. Here's what a qualified lead means to my business. This is what you need to achieve. But if you're like, it's not an important part of my sales process to qualify, I just want more appointments, then perhaps we'll set a low persistence level here. And so what this is going to do is if the lead gives any pushback on qualifying, achieving this goal, the assistant will kind of be nonchalant in trying to pursue that goal further. It'll just kind of move on to the next thing. However, I can set it up to relentless, which will make it hyper-focused on achieving whatever specific goal it's working on before moving to the next step. I can also get a little bit more granular in the way that I control these goals and the data I feed to it. For example, again, with qualifying questions, I'll pull up an example here. So what I could do is on qualifying, I could tell it what we're trying to do, what does a qualified lead mean to us, and then here is some qualifying questions to ask to get you to the point of a qualified lead for our business. And then I can set the persistence level. So I can set these goals. I can do as many as I want. Again, whatever business function is going to be most important, the goals that we have to accomplish along the way. And this will basically give the assistant its motivation and its purpose for talking with the lead at whatever stage it is in your sales process, your client management process, whatever it is. So, and then in the same way, right, we can create one training data, have it as shared brain all through here. Next, we have deployment. So because it's via HighLevel OAuth, there's zero workflows involved with this thing, absolutely zero. It basically, the assistants listen, build profiles, and continuously learn about your leads and clients just through you naturally doing conversations. So there's no workflow involved with feeding them data or deploying them. It could be done directly through a deployment here. So all you do is you give it an internal name, right? You choose what assistant you want to link to this deployment. So I'll go with a sales rep here, and then I'll add a tag. So when I add a tag here, so let's say tag added, I'll add a tag, and this tag is automatically going to be added into my HighLevel sublocation. So this tag is already in my HighLevel sublocation via the OAuth, right? So this is the tag that I will use, or that I will tag a lead with, to deploy this specific assistant, right? And this specific assistant is linked to the sales training data here. So it's all waterfalled as far as hierarchy. And what makes this nice is Now, if you have workflows with this tag already in there, you have your client acquisition system, ingrained with the tag you have for your assistant, but perhaps you want to change the assistant. Perhaps there's, a personality change, or, you've been working one on the side and you've been kind of building it out with some training data, whatever it is. You don't have to redeploy this assistant, because this sits as a separate thing all in itself. Is I can just relink which assistant I want tied to this deployment. Say I want this to be this one, right? And I can just save those changes. Now my deployment is not disrupted at all. All it's done is changed our assistant, which makes this really scalable for client acquisition systems that sit inside of HighLevel, where you don't have to make a lot of changes to change the way you deploy what would be AGI inside of your business processes. And the same way here, right? If I have training data, it's all interlinked right here. So it's almost like Legos. Like I was saying, is you can kind of mix and match these things to kind of fit whatever deployment needs that you have. And these assistants are very good at assuming personalities and accomplishing their goals. And again, because we have this shared conversation and continuity here, that means it doesn't matter how many assistants we deploy on a specific contact. Say it's through the sales process as a lead, they close, become a client, then we do a support assistant on them. And then perhaps 6 months down the line, we throw an account management to try to upsell, gather feedback and things like that. They all share this conversation as permanent conversation memory. So they all are kind of building on each other, the way that you want them to speak, the way that you want them to represent your company. And they can even reference conversations that happened months ago through the sales assistant and data points like that, because of this permanent conversation memory. And these assistants, because they live inside of your HighLevel via OAuth, there's a lot of data access that these things have, and they're able to do things autonomously. So for example, this isn't like any chatbot where you have to set, oh, I have a booking bot, and oh, I have a qualifying bot, and I have to link the two. These assistants know how to do these things almost intuitively to their nature, right? So like booking an appointment, adding tasks, adding notes to the lead, rescheduling appointments, canceling appointments. All these things are hard-coded into the assistant's abilities, just like a human. You don't have to tell it to. You don't have to add it in there. You don't need a million chatbots to do one thing. These assistants all know these things intuitively, right? So we're just giving it a goal and we're telling it what we're trying to do, and it's going to accomplish those goals with all the capabilities that it has out of the box, right? Like we don't have to tell it reschedule an appointment, or we don't have to teach it to reschedule an appointment. It already knows. And because these things are ingrained inside of HighLevel, right? So not only do they have access to the permanent conversation memory, they have access to the full information of a lead, right? So say a lead's missing an email address, but the assistant needs to book an appointment. It understands, because it can see all of these things from a bird's eye view, that I don't have the email address for my contact here that I need to book an appointment with. So I'm going to ask that lead for their email address, or I'm going to ask for their phone number, or I'm going to ask for whatever information is relevant to what I need to achieve at that time. So not only do they pull the data from the conversation, the data from the contact in HighLevel, they also pull the training data that they're assigned, right? Because we created that repository of reference data, which could be FAQs about my company, whatever it is, to kind of feed this thing a knowledge base. So that's its third resource of data. So these things are really robust. And then not only that, but we have the sub data and the goals that we're setting, again, with like qualifying questions or potential data points that we want to hit and support for a specific goal, right? So it has all these different places that it's pulling data, all these capabilities that it has just intuitively, naturally, where you don't have to have separate chatbots to do multiple things. These things can do everything all in one, right? And for different business functions, you can customize these however you want. So a whole lot of stuff here. I can really get into all the fun stuff, right? Like adding support widgets natively, admin locking accounts, doing limit management and things like that, remoting in. So the new and improved Agencentric is best as I can in just a 15-minute time, because I can go on, for quite some time, of all the amazing things that we've been able to build here because of our awesome community, continuously, working with us, doing beta tests, providing feedback. The community here is very, very strong, and I'm very, very appreciative at it. I think what we're looking at here is the first step, the first kind of frontier into true AGI, true what would be actual artificial intelligence inside of your high level with no additional work. There's no, you have to build out a workflow to make this thing work, or get my snapshot to actually make your bots work. There's none of that. This thing sits natively inside your high level with zero work, right? It's just tags. It's just tag based, and you could do that all in the portal. And then again, conversations are always being built upon, so you don't need an assistant deployed to actually have a conversation, be able to, to build out that profile. These assistants are constantly learning. They're constantly picking up data. So if you do, or if you don't deploy an assistant on that specific content or on that specific contact, at least they have that data there that they can learn from and learn more about your business. So again, a little bit longer video than I like to make, but just the tip of the iceberg of the capabilities of Agencentric and what we're so excited to release, what would be going into a full production run here very, very soon, as what we're calling the AGI, fully white label, fully scalable AGI assistance inside of your high level for every business function that can do everything an employee that you could hire could do natively without you telling it to. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any more questions, let me know, reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I'm always happy to hear feedback as well. I hope this is interesting. Today's Friday, so if you're watching this today, happy Friday. If not, I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. Thanks so much.